Welcome, fellow learner, to today's deep dive. Imagine staring at a masterfully translated copy of, the universe's greatest secrets and just feeling absolutely nothing.
Oh, yeah. That happens a lot more than people admit.
Right, like you understand the English, you know the vocabulary, but your brain just kind of bounces off the page like it's a blank wall.
Exactly.
They're reading something that millions of people revere, and you're just left wondering if you're missing a piece of the puzzle, like maybe you're just not getting it.
Well, we condition ourselves to treat reading as a transaction. You input the analytical focus, you extract the data.
Yeah, that makes sense for like a textbook.
Right. But when that fails with ancient philosophical or spiritual texts, the modern instinct is just to study harder, to parse the syntax more aggressively. We assume the barrier is just a lack of data.
But today we were looking at an essay that completely dismantles that assumption.
It really does.
The piece is by an author named Xu Feng, and it's translated by Kinyu. It's titled Cultivate True Essence and True Spirit, Great Talent and Virtue Will Manifest.
Which is quite a title.
It is, and the framework proposed in this text makes a radical claim. It basically says the barrier keeping you from understanding universal wisdom has nothing to do with your intellect, your cultural background, or, how many books you've read.
Yeah, the lock on the door isn't intellectual at all.
Exactly. It's entirely about how you position your own identity in relation to the rest of humanity. Our mission today is to unpack how adopting two radically contradictory mindsets might be the key to unlocking these mysteries.
Yeah, because the author suggests that if you want to understand the deepest truths of the universe, you don't start by looking up at the stars or burying yourself in a library.
Right.
You start by fundamentally destroying your current social and emotional coordinate system, and then replacing it with these two extreme perspectives.
So we're going to see how this master key works not just for ancient text, but literally for rewiring how you handle a Tuesday morning commute.
Huh, exactly. And to prove how intellectualizing fails, the author points directly to a very famous text, the Diamond Sutra.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people are familiar with that one.
Right. Many people who know Buddhism treat it like a philosophical textbook. People memorize the famous lines like, all conditioned phenomena are like a dream, an illusion, a bubble, a shadow.
Yeah, the really poetic stuff.
Exactly. And they think they've grasped the core teaching just because they can recite the poetry.
But the essay calls the Diamond Sutra the Himalayan mountain of wisdom, implying it contains, like, the infinite mysteries of the universe.
That's the peak.
But it notes this massive disconnect. People read it repeatedly, yet they just bounce right off the surface. And the text gets very explicit about why.
Yeah, it doesn't hold back.
It says the Buddha, referred to in the text as the world-honored one only, spoke for those with the Mahayana, or the great vehicle. He was broadcasting on a highly specific frequency.
That's a great way to put it, a specific frequency.
And if you don't possess that specific highest aspiration, you are permanently locked out of the meaning.
Okay, let's unpack this, because this feels like a trap.
Well, does this mean ultimate knowledge is gatekept by emotion or spiritual intention rather than pure logic?
I can see why you'd ask that.
If I'm trying to rigorously study a text, being told I can't just study my way in is incredibly frustrating. It sounds like the text is saying, you don't understand it because you don't believe hard enough.
Yeah, it sounds like gatekeeping if we view learning solely as data acquisition.
Right.
But the text is implying something much deeper about the nature of wisdom itself. It treats wisdom not as inert information to be memorized, but as a living architecture.
Okay, a living architecture. What does that mean?
Well, imagine you were examining a brilliant building, but you fundamentally misunderstand the purpose of the structure. Say, you think a hospital is supposed to be a fortress.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Then the layout, the walls, the doors, none of it will ever make sense to you. You don't share the why of the architect.
So you're just critiquing the placement of the windows without realizing they're meant to let in light for patients?
Exactly. The author is demanding that you align your core aspiration with the source's core aspiration. Without the Mahayana heart, you are essentially a tourist trying to critique the blueprint.
Right, you're missing the whole point.
The text requires you to be a participant in the intention before the words can even unlock.
But, identifying that we lack this massive overarching intention is the easy part.
True.
The real problem is how a normal, ego-driven person actually acquires this great vehicle mindset. We can't just flip a switch and suddenly care deeply about the entire
No,
universe.
you definitely can.
But Shufeng's essay doesn't leave this as some abstract mystery, which I appreciate. It offers a highly specific, intense mental exercise to actually force this shift.
Yeah, the instruction is fascinating. You are told to envision yourself as the literal father or mother of all people in the world.
All people.
Every single one. And the author places a very strict parameter on this. It must be genuinely from the heart.
You can't fake it.
No, you cannot simply nod along to the concept. You have to actively manufacture the internal reality that every single person on Earth is your beloved child.
And the source doesn't let you abstract this into a vague, like, I love humanity bumper sticker.
Right. It gets very specific.
It lists specific divisions to ensure you really feel the friction of this. It says you must view white, black, and yellow people as your precious children.
It crosses all the lines.
Yeah, major ideological battle lines, too. It explicitly says Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, and communists are all your family.
Which is a huge mental leap for most people.
Huge. And you have to
Yeah.
genuinely wish for all of them to live harmoniously, to have good food, clothing, rest, and hope.
Think about the psychological mechanics of what the author is asking you to do here.
It's intense.
It is, because we naturally operate in a mode of tribal preservation. Our empathy is usually reserved for our immediate family, our political group, or our nation.
The people closest to us, yeah.
Right. But this exercise demands the complete dissolution of tribalism by expanding your identity to encompass the entire globe.
Wow.
You are no longer defending a tiny territory. Your ego is forced to stretch over billions of people.
It's like playing a complex strategy video game, you know?
Yeah, I like that analogy. Go on.
Like, usually your objective in those games is survive and conquer, you gather resources, you defeat enemies. But imagine the game suddenly forces you to change your primary objective.
To what?
Instead of conquering, the game forces you to change your objective to nurture and protect every NPC on the map.
What's fascinating here is how that completely changes the gameplay.
Exactly. The actual mechanics of the game are the same. You still have to manage resources, walk around, interact with the environment, but the way you play completely transforms.
Right, because your ultimate goal is now universal preservation.
Your entire coordinate system for making decisions shifts.
And the essay states that this mindset literally becomes your new benchmark for life. It dictates how you write, speak, and act.
It's an all-encompassing filter.
By adopting this stance of the universal parent, the text claims true essence and true spirit gather within you, which it says is the precursor to great talent and virtue.
But, okay, I have a problem with this.
Let's hear it.
The parent mindset has a fatal flaw, especially when applied to human interactions. If I walk into a meeting or like a family gathering secretly viewing myself as everyone's parent, that is a fast track to becoming insufferably arrogant.
Yeah, it really could be.
Right. It becomes so paternalistic. I'd start thinking, I know what's best for my poor, naive children and try to micromanage their lives.
Unchecked, the parent mindset absolutely degrades into tyranny.
Yes.
But the author anticipates this trap. The first exercise is entirely incomplete on its own.
Okay, good.
To actually cultivate the true essence that
Yeah.
the text promises, you have to immediately engage in a second violently opposing mental exercise.
Right, you have to place yourself in the exact opposite position.
Completely opposite.
You must envision yourself as the son or daughter of all the world's people. Every nation, every stranger, suddenly becomes the parent who nourishes you.
The power dynamic completely inverts.
Yeah.
In this mindset, you owe the world honor. You must share their burdens. And the text is explicit that you must not seek to take from them, but only consider how you can give back.
So you shift from supreme authority to ultimate servitude and gratitude.
Exactly. And the essay uses an incredibly vivid metaphor for this. It tells the reader to emulate the spirit of the cow.
The cow spirit. I thought this was so interesting.
It really is. The biological reality of the cow is a perfect mirror for the spiritual mechanism the author is describing here.
How so?
Well, a cow consumes grass, which
Okay.
is ubiquitous, low-nutrient, humble sustenance from the earth.
Just basic stuff.
Right. Yet its internal system processes that basic input into rich, sweet milk to nourish its caregivers.
It takes the absolute minimum for itself and gives back something of incredibly high value.
This raises an important question, though. How does a human actually metabolize grass into milk
Yeah.
in daily life.
Yeah, that's the tricky part.
You do it by applying this child servant mindset to the hardships and mundane realities of daily life. The grass, you're the friction of existence. A difficult coworker, a financial stressor, a traffic jam.
Basically everything that annoys us.
Exactly. An ego-driven mind metabolizes that grass into bitterness and anger. But the cow spirit takes in that exact same friction, processes it through a system of radical gratitude and servitude, and outputs milk.
And the milk is like patient service value to the community.
Right. You minimize your selfish desires and maximize your output.
I mean, I understand the poetry of it, but honestly, this sounds completely exhausting.
Exhausting. How so?
Taking on the emotional weight of being a fiercely protective parent to billions of people is already a heavy lift.
Sure.
Add to that simultaneously feeling the immense duty and debt of a child to those same billions of people. My nervous system is fried just thinking about it.
It sounds like a lot.
It does. Empathy is a finite resource. We talk about compassion fatigue all the time in the modern world. How does someone not just instantly burn out from the sheer psychological weight of holding both of these massive responsibilities at once?
Well, it seems like a fast track to a nervous breakdown, if we assume that caring for others is what drains our energy.
Right.
But the text argues the exact opposite. The author explicitly addresses the result of holding this dual mindset, and it promises that you will feel refreshed, clear-headed, and bright of heart and eye.
Wait, really? Refresh? That sounds like spiritual marketing. How does carrying the emotional weight of a billion people not crush you?
Because the weight we carry isn't actually the weight of other people. It's the weight of our own ego fighting for its share.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, when you are constantly trying to protect your slice of the pie, defending your pride, and calculating what you are owed, you burn an immense amount of psychological calories.
So the friction of defending the self is what actually causes the burnout.
Exactly. The author describes the result of these two mindsets as achieving actionless action. You aren't forcing your will upon the world anymore.
Actionless action. Okay.
When you view the world as both your precious child and your revered parent, you just stop fighting it. You flow with it. The internal coordinate system is perfectly aligned with the broader reality, so all that friction just disappears.
And the scale the source uses to describe this state is cosmic. It literally says, the universe can fit within your chest, the earth can rest upon your palm.
It's beautiful imagery. Because when you stop fighting the world to protect a tiny, isolated identity, your consciousness expands.
Yeah.
The world ceases to be a heavy, chaotic burden you have to endure. It becomes something you hold gently. You become vast enough to contain the paradox.
This brings us back to the impenetrable text we talked about at the beginning.
Right, the Diamond Sutra.
Yeah. The author claims that once you achieve this state, this unification of being both parent and child to humanity, suddenly the locks just pop open.
You will naturally understand it.
Right. Not because you finally bought the right dictionary or studied syntax, but because your internal frequency now perfectly matches the Mahayana aspiration of the text.
The essay presents this dual mindset as a sort of universal translator. It claims this state allows you to comprehend the inner meaning of Jesus Christ's teachings and to grasp the profound wisdom and spirit of Laozi.
So it covers a lot of ground.
It transcends religious boundaries entirely because it addresses the underlying human posture required to receive wisdom in the first place.
The text then drops some massive cosmological terms that we really need to unpack, because if we aren't careful, this just sounds like another impenetrable dogma.
Yes, we should clarify this.
The author explains that this dual mindset is the foundational requirement for understanding Lifechanyuan.
So the essay introduces Lifechanyuan as a broader philosophical and cosmological framework. According to the text, once you have gathered this true essence and true spirit we've been talking about, you naturally understand why Lifechanyuan promotes revering what it calls the greatest creator, revering life, and revering nature.
The source also states that this mindset explains why Lifechanyuan advocates for unifying all faiths, and it aims to initiate the Lifechanyuan era for humanity with the ultimate goal of guiding everyone to the Pure Land for eternal life's pleasures.
It's a very grand vision.
But for a listener who doesn't follow this specific philosophy, how do we interpret these concepts? Because we're trying to look at this impartially.
Absolutely. Within the context of the essay, the Pure Land and the Lifechanyuan era aren't just mystical destinations you blindly accept.
Right.
They are the logical, inevitable conclusions of an entire species adopting this specific coordinate system.
Oh, I see.
If every human being operated as a fiercely loving parent and a humbly serving child to one another, The physical world would naturally transform into the Pure Land, the author describes.
So the cosmology is built entirely upon this internal dual mindset.
Precisely.
Mhm.
It all starts from that internal shift.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? We've talked about universal translators, the metabolism of the cow spirit, and shifting into a cosmic coordinate system.
A lot of big concepts.
Yeah. But if you're like prepping for a brutal performance review at work or dealing with a neighbor who plays music too loud, how does putting the earth on your palm help you practically today?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the text is offering a master key that bypasses the need for a million different roles.
Okay, a master key.
The author writes, even if the guide says nothing, you will know how to speak, act, live, and practice.
That's a bold claim.
It is, but think about it. If you have to constantly ask yourself, what is the ethical thing to do here? Or how should I handle this conflict? You are relying on external guides.
You're consulting a rule book instead of an internal compass.
Exactly. But if you drop into the genuine mindset of being a loving parent and a grateful child to the person sitting across from you, even if they are totally hostile, the correct action naturally presents itself.
Because your core motivation is so stable.
Right. The complexity of human interaction is vastly simplified because your baseline intention is completely secure.
It's an incredible reframe of how we approach both knowledge and life. I mean, we started this deep dive frustrated by ancient texts that felt like closed doors.
And we found a totally unexpected key.
Sheffing's essay suggests that the solution isn't to hammer at the door with more intellect. The solution is to fundamentally alter our relationship to humanity itself.
We have to step out of the isolated ego and willingly step into the friction of a massive paradox.
The text insists that if we try developing this supreme aspiration, we will surely gather true essence and true spirit, and we will become people of great talent and virtue.
It's a bold hypothesis.
It really is, and it's one that requires testing in the laboratory of your own life.
Yeah, it demands action, not just passive agreement. You have to actually try the exercise.
The essay ends with a lingering, really powerful line. It says, through our transformation of consciousness, the myriad phenomena of the vast world will change.
That's beautiful.
It implies that the reality you experience is a direct reflection of the internal posture you hold.
If you change the coordinate system, the map of the world redraws itself.
So we want to leave you with this thought. Think about the very next person you interact with today.
Anyone at all.
It could be the barista making your coffee, a frustrating coworker, or a family member you've been arguing with. What would happen to the exact mechanics of that interaction and to your own stress levels if you silently decided to treat them as either your beloved child whom you fiercely protect or the revered parent who nourishes you?
It would completely shift the dynamic.
You might just find that the blank wall you've been staring at suddenly turns into an open door.